Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. It is once again me, Zach, here today with a new little mini-series for you guys. This is something I've wanted to do for a little while, and I think that it is a good time to start it, as we are about to be moving into a new DLC, which will probably... I feel like I said that weird. Whatever. Which will probably add in some new DLC classes to this game, Barony, which I love very much. The series that we're going to be doing is basically a kind of overview of each class, followed by a quick run-through of the first floor of the dungeon. We're not going to be doing anything too crazy in terms of game settings, except I'm going to disable hunger for this one, largely just because I want to be able to take my time and show you guys everything. The reason why I want to do this, let's re-roll our name a few times, Gwyneth, sure. We'll scam some people online after this, I guess. The reason why we're doing this is because if you come in here to the class info, you can get a lot of good stuff in terms of the overall play style of the class, as well as what you can kind of expect from it in terms of level ups, HP, MP, all that kind of thing. But does it help much? Hit and miss, right? So I think it's best if we just get straight into the game. I'm not using a special seed. You saw the game settings I'm using. All pretty simple stuff. I'll even turn off classic ending because it doesn't matter. We're only playing one floor. No custom seed, nothing. Let's get right in there. Oh, and we are also playing human. That's important. We will not have any of the racial bonuses affecting anything about us. We will be starting as bog standard, boring, vanilla as possible. Alright, so the only thing of note here is you can ignore the degeneration effect. That is because we turned off hunger. Everything else is, again, supremely bog standard. Barbarian starts with a leather helmet. It's worn, so it'll last a decent length of time. A serviceable iron axe, which is not too terrible, that's pretty decent. Serviceable wooden shield, that's actually quite good. Considering a lot of the early game shields you're likely to get are going to be decrepit. And a rough ring of might. Generally, ring durability does not matter, so the rough aspect of it is completely irrelevant, but the fact that it is a ring of might is pretty big. Not only does it buff our strength by a bit, but also it allows us to push boulders and things. Now, in addition to that, item-wise, we have a bottle of booze that will be useful potentially for a little bit of healing, especially with no regeneration turned on. We'll need that. But in addition to that, we can throw it at things if we need to, but it also will count towards our alchemy levels potentially, and that is kind of helpful on the Barbarian if that's a direction you want to go. It's not necessary, but it is nice. Then we have two different types of bread, slightly aged on both. So the chance of indigestion is incredibly low there, as it says 4% chance. And they both are medium or large amounts of hunger restored, which is, again, pretty solid. We have two tomahawks. They're decrepit, but I've never even seen a tomahawk break, to be honest with you. They're really helpful early game for dealing with tougher enemies like trolls and such. You want to remember you have these, as well as some torches. The torches are kind of whatever, because, of course, we're surrounded by those, so yeah, we don't super need them, but they're cool to have regardless. Then we can come over to this side of the screen, over here, and we can look at everything in this zone, right? So of course we start with no gold. Only a few classes start with gold, I believe. But we do have 2 strength, 0 dex, 1 con, -2 int, 0 perception, and -1 charisma. Biggest flaws here are we start with very low int. If you are a vampire barbarian, you can spam levitate for a bit to potentially get that up quite a bit. And alongside that, our 0 perception, which kind of keeps us from doing a whole lot of like appraising early on. The low charisma doesn't really come up, and the 0 in dex doesn't matter because, as we can look here, we have a decent chance of raising our dex So especially if we are throwing our tomahawks around a bit, we should get a decent amount of range skill and thus some extra dexterity. Down here we've got 13 attack baseline, not too bad, pretty solid start. We are very good at dealing damage as a barbarian. Our AC is 4, although half of that is from our shield, of course. We are very poorly armored as a barbarian, being largely nude except our hat. And we will be having a torch in our hand most of the time, so it's important we remember to block or we get really good at hit and runs. Everything else is pretty typical. The regen being at 0% is again because we turned hunger off just so I can hang out and talk as long as I want at any given point. This video should not be too crazy long. We're only doing a run, or at least until I die, and that will be it. I don't feel like I need to explain every single detail about the entire game to you guys in this. I have other playthroughs going on and previously to discuss a lot of that. But before we go down, we should cover the skills. We start with 25 swimming. This is mostly worthless. Swimming is free levels, but you don't need points in it for it to matter at all. So really we've just been cheated out on 25 free chances to level up our character overall. Leadership, trading, appraise, and tinkering all at 0, as is magic and casting. All of that makes sense, of course. All of that is pretty in line with our stat array and everything else. But we do have 10 alchemy, which is int-based, and that is kind of interesting. This gives us, you know, a bit of a reason to look into potion making and stuff. I do think it's worth noting that goatmen do make pretty formidable barbarians, both because they like doing alchemy stuff regardless of how their skill is at the beginning, but also because they are really solid as a melee class. They have no stealth, no range, no swords or polearms, but they do have 25 in blocking, which is a pretty solid starting bonus. I believe monks have the highest, and it's like 40 or 50. But 25 is still a very reasonable amount. As you can see, when we're defending, we get plus 10 AC with the shield, and without the shield, we still get plus 10. But it's pretty solid stuff in there. We also have 20 in unarmed, which is kind of interesting. Not necessarily super useful, but there is a chance that you might find a really good early game punching weapon, in which case, maybe it's worth it to switch over at least some of the time. Axes is at 50. I want to say that's the highest axe skill in the game. It's at least one of the big ones, for sure. Axes are a solid weapon type. Parashu is pretty decent. It's a little bit weaker against the bosses because they don't really care about it as much. In terms of like the slowing effect and whatnot that axes can do. But it's still good, always. Parashu is a really solid option because you can get it early. And then finally, 25 in maces. This is a bit more meh, in my opinion, because Sharur is not great for a pure melee style, but maces are still pretty good. Being able to occasionally paralyze people is pretty solid. It's not the most powerful effect, but it is pretty solid. There's definitely an argument to be made there. So that is where we're starting off. Generally in the early game, playing kind of stealthy and getting this up a little bit if you're playing solo is not a bad idea, and if you can get your range skill up, that is nice as well. You are a hit and run expert, your melee DPS is insane, but it is worthwhile to at least get your range skill up to initiate fights that, you know, you don't think you can easily end in melee. Blocking is, of course, king, though. We really want to get that up throughout the game. And, of course, to do so, you need to remember the old tried and true XP gaining method with shields, which is block, smack, block, smack, block, smack. That is how you get the achievement. I forget what it's called now, but you get an achievement for doing that successfully against a single target, and that is how we want to handle things when we're leveling block as well. So that is it. Let's head into the first floor and see what we can see. I'm not too worried about completing this floor, but I'm going to give it a go for sure. I'll try to kind of explain my decision making here. Right there, we got a sneak attack on that. A rat, I don't know why I called it that. Okay. In this sort of situation, we have a good opportunity to sneak attack. This guy, though, we don't want to sneak attack. I mean, we can, I guess, actually. That's not a terrible idea. I don't think he knows. Yeah. What I meant to say was not necessarily sneak attack. We don't want to block this guy because he has an axe. You don't see me. Thank you. Turn around. No, the other way. The other way. All the way around. Thank you. So, because he has an axe, that means some of the damage will go through our block. No matter what our block skill is, basically. These guys we gotta be careful of because they bleed. But, yeah, so be very careful and respectful of axe skeletons early game because they can fuck you up with that bleed. You really do not want to be bleeding this early in the game. We start with a hefty amount of HP at 40, as mentioned earlier, but it'll go fast if you keep eating bleeds from axe skeletons, or really anyone. That is... oh, hey. Break that wall. That is also why the bats deserve respect. That's why I went kind of quiet when I was fighting them. I hear so many rats. I think we got Algernon on this floor, and that's really upsetting to me. I think we can block him, though. We're finna find out. Money. We really don't want to mess with these. We don't want to fuck with slimes. They'll ruin our equipment and possibly kill us. Green slimes used to be the least threatening. Now they're the scariest fucking things in the early game. This is a terrible room. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of those old Minecraft rooms that would spawn in mine shafts occasionally. That were just like big open rooms of nothing. We have no reason to hold on to cursed gear. So if we find it, we're just going to get rid of it. That is... I don't think that's a useful amulet. I'll hold on to it now, though, to appraise. Appraise is important. We don't start with the ability to appraise very much stuff. I think we just got lucky appraising some very basic item. Maybe cheese or something. Well, guess not cheese, but... we got lucky and got... oh, you know what? Hold up. And we got an early appraise level is what I was trying to say there. Between babbling. Oops. I didn't mean to do that. There was XP in that room for me. I'm sorry. Alright. Let's limp over to this corner here real fast. We gotta kind of keep our head on a swivel. We'll wear that. We probably do want to keep this sword, actually. Might seem kind of strange, but it's not a bad idea to try and, yeah, get our sword skill up early on. Plus, we'll end up hitting so hard very soon that if we use our axe, we'll just one-shot stuff. If we want to do the blocking technique, we kind of need an offhand weapon. Okay. Now, we are quite a bit slower right now. We need to be extremely cautious. I don't honestly recommend using iron armor this early on, although we can use most of it. Just ditch that. That gets us fast enough that we can move. And shows off our pectoral muscles. We worked really hard on those. I mean, flaunt it if you got it, you know what I mean? Yeah. Alright, so let's head around now. This was all just kind of one big fancy dead end. Careful of boulders. See how much less damage we do? As soon as we get that blocking level, though, we can switch back over, if that's something we want to do. It doesn't really matter that much, either way. Is this a good amulet? I think that's another shitty one. I'm going to hold on to these two helmets, because they're all decrepit, and they could all break. Oh, that's a decent. Yeah, poison resistance, nice. Here, squeaking. Kind of sounds like only one rat, though, so maybe it's not so bad. It's get another stealth attack on this man. It's always good to try and farm up whatever skills you can. Even if they're not part of your specific, like, playstyle. It's just good to do what you can. Man, we got a lot of slingshots. I'm gonna get rid of that tomahawk, actually. Oh, and, that cheese. That door's open. I was not here, so that means something else roams these halls. Gotta be careful here because there's a torch. We can take the torch down, though. Oh, he saw. No big deal. There is a chance whenever they're just swinging at you to give you a level up as well. But it's a pretty low chance. So where possible, I would just recommend using that method because it guarantees XP. Okay, is that everybody? I think so. Tomahawks are good. We can keep that sword. Get rid of that one and replace it with... yeah, we'll keep that on 2 for now. We don't need that many iron helmets. Alright, so we could make friends with this rat here. The rat? What the fuck am I saying? You know what? Perfect. Get him, Matthew. Alright. We do plan on betraying Matthew, though. Wait here. Oh, he won. Eh. Well, whatever then. You can stick around, Matthew. Perks of being human. Actually, you know what? That would kind of defeat the purpose of me playing through this on my own, wouldn't it? Yeah. We'll save followers for future videos where we cover classes, where that makes sense. Sorry, Matthew. You were a bro. Alright, we don't need the moldy cheese, we don't need the rocks. You don't want to get bogged down, that's a really important thing about this. That sword is better than these two, but it's lower durability, so I'm tossing it out immediately. This ring is cool, we don't care about it, we want our strength ring. These gloves are better, and that is better. And I don't think that that will weigh us down too much. It's a noticeable difference, but we are quite a bit more durable than normal. Keep in mind that, you know, this goes up by whatever our block bonus is, currently 11. So this goes to 21 whenever we just hold right-click. Or whatever your, you know, block button is. I set mine to right-click. Could you tell? We don't want an amulet of strangulation, I tell you that much. Oh, another thing that will weigh us down is all these torches. So, I gotta remember to dump those occasionally. Let's see what we got. These boots, I think, are boots of speed. Utility boots like that are really good. I would recommend them. Ah, but they're cursed. Well, we might get a scroll of uncursing, perhaps? No. No, we didn't. We don't need that. Get rid of that one and replace it with the excellent one. Get rid of that. Alright. Got everything from there. More gold. What was that scroll? Piece of mail. Ah, yes. We will switch to the axe for this so we can break it down a little bit faster. Break it down. Okay. Nothing special there. Gold. That's special. Helmet. We do prefer leather if we can get, like, blessed leather equipment, because it does allow us to be speed. Ooh, that's a really nice cloak, actually. Helmet's okay, but nothing to write home about. I expected a mimic, 100%. I don't think I need to cut through that wall. I think I can get in there from here. Yeah. Some bread. Nothing down that way. Cool, cool. we'll keep both of those. We'll drink that. Just to say that we did. I think that's pretty much it. But I haven't found the exit yet, so I guess not. Wait a minute. Hold up. Is it over here? Well, it can't be in this back corner, can it? Wait, there was that breakable wall I didn't punch down on the other side, wasn't there? Oops. Where was that at? That was up this way, in like the top right corner of the map, I think. Sorry about the throat clearing and such. I have been sick lately. And I'm not going to talk about it too much because I already talked about it in an update video not that long ago, but I am feeling better. But now I'm in that part of the sickness where, like, you make terrible noises and everybody wishes you would leave, but they're too polite to say anything about it, so you just sit there and you're like, and everyone's like, Jesus Christ, this dude sucks. Yeah, that's the phase of sickness I'm in, but so I'm nearly better. Okay. It wasn't too far away from here, was it? Maybe it was in here? I could have sworn there was a breakable wall. Somewhere. Over the rainbow. Maybe it wasn't a breakable wall. Maybe I could just... What the heck? There's a sack! Hell yeah. Yeah, maybe I could just walk back here. Okay, well, this isn't where the exit was anyway. It's a little bit concerning, isn't it? Is this the first time I'm gonna get hard locked on a floor? That doesn't look good, guys. Think of my brand. Let's see. Well, I've been back here, and that was just the dead end. So, down there technically is accessible, but you need levitation for it, so that doesn't really count. Maybe over here there's something. I guess it doesn't really matter. This isn't going to be like a playthrough. So, you know, you guys could just imagine that I find the exit. Kind of lame, though. Kind of wanted to end the floor. This pretty much never happens, by the way. Getting locked out of the exit. Because I really don't know where it could be at this point. Did I just, like, fail to walk down the right hallway that would spawn it? Well, not spawn it, but show me where it's at? Is that the issue? I feel like I've been kind of everywhere now. Oh. I've been over on that side, though. This was the wall I was thinking of. I was in, like, the right side of the map, wrong corner of it, though. And it didn't do anything for me, either. The only thing I can think of is that maybe it's over there? But that's totally inaccessible terrain, isn't it? I feel like it's either here or here. I don't feel like it could be anywhere else right now. Wait, maybe there? Hold up, wait a minute, we'll try and get out of here. Either way, that's pretty much the end of first floor Barbarian. You know, try and get some stealth levels. Try and get some stealth levels, try and get your, like, axe skill going up. Focus on block pretty heavily. Big weakness of Barbarian, it's sort of a strength and a weakness, is that you really want to be fast. Ah, there it is. Thank God. You really want to be fast, you want to take advantage. Like, look how fast, like, look how quickly... said fast too many times, my brain was starting to shut down. Look how quickly our dexterity caught up with our strength in terms of stats. Over the course of a simple 4 levels, we got boosted that much. I think we started with 2 strength, right? So we went up once, and then we went up 3 times with dex, which is pretty good. Lots of perception, and our int and charisma are both out of the negatives now. Our int being at 0 does mean we can probably do some spell casting if we want to in the future, but this is only for floor 1. So... you know, this is it. This is how you play through Barbarian. Just kill stuff very quickly, try and get some sneak attacks. If you're playing in multiplayer, if someone is playing a tank, you might have to put your block skill raising off until they get theirs up, but you can always get back shots on the enemies that they're fighting. You can always sneak in and hit. It would be a good idea, though, to use a sword or a polearm or something when you're doing stuff like that, because otherwise you will kill the enemies too quickly, and your team won't get as much XP from it. Because you are a DPS class. Functionally, that is what the Barbarian is. Yeah, you're a bruiser. You are pretty tanky, but at the end of the day, a lot of it comes down to you dealing damage better than most other groups. Like, that's kind of what your focus is. So, that is it for this episode. Next time, we're just going to go in alphabetical order, so next up will be whatever comes after the Barbarian in the class list. I'll just talk you guys through things and then go through the first floor of the dungeon. Hopefully this, pseudo guide is helpful to you guys. I've seen a lot of guides for Barony online, and I just feel like a lot of them talk about the stats or talk about like the idea, like the concept of the class, without showing you guys exactly what they're really all about. Getting into the nitty-gritty. Like, when you play Barbarian, you're probably first thinking like, yeah, hard level axe skill, kill stuff fast and hard. And yes, true, based and true, but it's very important that you raise your blocking skill, right? Like, I've raised it 5 times on this first floor alone by myself, and I could have done better on some of that, but I'm not going to try and play like hyper optimally here, right? You want to get your appraise up, fuck around with alchemy a little bit, ignore the swimming mechanics whenever possible. Do like weave in some unarmed or some swords or polearms or something that you're not even good at. Like, focus your efforts on getting overall level ups in ways that will help your character in like 20, 30, 40 levels, not just right now. Yeah, leveling up your axe skill on the first floor to like 65 would be really cool, and you'll kill stuff really fast, but then your block skill goes up slower because you're killing things too quickly for you to do the whole block, punch, block, punch, block, punch maneuver. So, either way, keep some of that stuff in mind when playing. Hope you guys enjoy it, and I will see you next time for whatever the next class is. I should probably check before I do another one of these. Whee! Hey guys, so at the end of this video, I wanted to do a little bit of a shout out to the Steam user Bwabi, or Bawabi, however you want to pronounce that. This individual has been super helpful to me personally, playing Barony, but also to the channel as a whole, because I've referenced this guide many, many, many times throughout playing the game and making guide content for you. A lot of the stuff in it is things that I know, but it condenses all of the information in a great way. And I've been linking this guide in almost every single Barony video for pretty much the lifespan of the channel having Barony on it, I think. But I really wanted to specifically mention this and give a call out, shout out. I guess shout out. Call outs are bad, aren't they? This is a shout out, to be supremely clear. Save the call outs for later, right? Wink. But anyway, this contains information on all of the classes in the game, as well as details about the races alongside that. It goes through, it neatly organizes things for you, so that you can come through here and kind of get an idea at a glance, like what each class does. Not only does this person rate the survival and complexity ratings, gives those just like they are in game, they also rate the fun rating. I think it's out of 4, might be out of 5. Not actually sure. But yeah, lists all the equipment. But most importantly, you can come down here and you can see the stat weights. And this might look kind of familiar because I've used this in several videos as well. It has been very helpful to me to know, like, exactly statistically how likely you are to level up a specific stat in the video game. Skills are located down here, and there's even a little section down here. This is, of course, kind of subjective, like some of this guide is, but it does show, what are the races that this person recommends for you to play with the chosen class. So if we come down to like warrior here, that's all normal as well, but with healer, I think we get a special call out, yes, to Goatman. And we also have Goblin, who of course is harder because you can't learn the spells from the books that they start with. Skeleton as well. Slower MP regen. So that's all very cool, and I just really wanted to highlight this. I'm going to make a short out of this, giving a shout out. I might even put this in a separate video. I don't know. It probably just going to put it at the end of this guide, but either way, I just really wanted it to be clear that this blobby person's guide, I highly recommend it, just in general, and this is both a, hey, check this out, as well as a thank you, blobby, from me, and what tiny portion of the community that I represent, because your guide has been indispensable to me. It's been a lot of help. Yeah, that's it. Have a good one. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode today, as well as, I hope you enjoy this guide. And until next time, have a good one, and peace.